Welcome back to Bloom. Not feeling the love this Valentine's Day? Could your ancestry be messing up your love life? Here to tell us more is systemic work and constellations expert Judy Wilkins-Smith, who is the author of Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint. Welcome to Bloom, Judy.
Thank you, Gail. It's lovely to be with you.
So, Judy, people all over the world are fascinated with their ancestry. I know I am. And over 100 million family trees have been built on Ancestry.com alone. So can we also research those family trees for our emotional DNA?
Absolutely, and you're spot on. The first piece, Ancestry, shows you how or where you belong, and this work shows you why that matters. It has a look at your patterns of thoughts, feelings, and actions, because what we now know is that you don't just inherit those physical pieces, you also inherit all of your emotional patterns, your thoughts, those feelings and actions that start with an event. So if we're looking at relationship DNA or looking at your relationships, we have someone like great-grandfather who comes along and he meets the love of his life. He is smitten. And that's it for him. He dates her. Within a week, he's already proposed. 2 months later, they're at the altar. Or he is, but she isn't. And she drops him. And so that creates an impact on the system. And he begins to think things like, you cannot trust love at first sight. Love is not trustworthy. In fact, be really, really careful of it. And that pattern then begins to echo all the way down through the system until it reaches you. And all of a sudden, you're the one feeling the love, looking at this person. Valentine's Day is coming up, but you have this big hole in your stomach that goes, be careful, don't touch that. These are not good. You know you can't trust love at first sight. So this is what we look at on your ancestry as well.
Now, is there scientific evidence of emotional DNA? Because this sounds fascinating.
Yes, there is. Thanks to neuroscience and epigenetics, and of course this work, we now have great studies that have been done to show impacts of significant events and how they echo through and affect first the emotions and then often also the physical side of you. So the one affects the other. And there are numerous studies that have been done to point that out and to make it available.
So you talked about grandpa that fell in love, went to the altar, and then basically got kicked to the curb. But where else do our relationship patterns come from?
Our parents, our own events sometimes, because we either inherit those patterns or we begin them. But most often we inherit them. So we notice someone else who doesn't, let's say grandma, doesn't manage to keep her first two husbands for whatever reason. Now, the next thing that happens is mom and daughter then go, well, if she couldn't keep her first ones or she couldn't have the loves of her life, how dare we? Very unconscious, but super present. So we may not see it, but we feel it completely. And now we're sitting with it and feeling it as though it's ours, when in fact it's just an echo of ancient history.
Interesting. So what exactly is systemic work and constellations?
So systemic work in constellations has a look at the entire system, not just you. We have a look at how you belong within the context of mom, dad, grandparents, and all the significant events that have affected you. That's systemic work. The way to see it, and it's a really breakthrough approach, is to dimensionalize it. So we set up representatives for each member of the family or each part of an issue you're exploring, which means that not only are you thinking about it, but now you can see it, feel it, walk in it, touch it, and you're having different insights, understanding the relationships and the connections, and the ahas allow you to shift from stuck to what's possible.
So let's just say that, it's in our DNA or we've been, exposed to it. Is there any way to turn the ship a little bit on this and find healthy relationships?
Yes, and that's exactly what the book teaches you. What we do is we have a look at where it came from, what were the words, thoughts, feelings, and actions that were passed down, how they're sitting with you, and then what your real desire is. What is your calling? I want to have that fulfilling relationship. Okay, so what one new thought, one new feeling, and one new action is going to start turning that around. And we tailor it to match the uniqueness of you and your system.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Judy, for joining us on Bloom today.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely to be in Florida. I bet it's warmer than Texas.
Yeah, it's pretty warm here. It's warming up nicely. Thank you so much. And for more
Take good
information,
care.
you too. For more information, you can visit judywilkins-smith.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.